What's up, Maniacs? My name is Mex. I'm a wrestling fan, a wrestling enthusiast, a WrestleManiac, if you will. And today we are discussing Monday Night Raw. SummerSlam done, Payback done. We are on the road to Clash of Champions, and the first few matches are being put in place because every WWE title is going to be on the line at Clash of Champions. They have made that quite clear. So they have started paving the road towards those championship matches. So if you want to hear the ones that came out of today's episode of Raw, stay tuned. Right here at WrestleManiac UK, I discuss everything that is WWE and AEW. So if this sounds like the place for you, make sure you click the subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into the review. So the first thing we learnt on the night is that there was going to be 3 singles matches, men's singles matches, and the winner from each of those matches was going to face each other in the main event of tonight's show to become the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. In the first match, we had Keith Lee versus Dolph Ziggler. And Dolph Ziggler, in my opinion, put on too much of a fight compared to what Keith Lee done to Randy Orton the night before at Payback. Dolph Ziggler made it look like a more competitive match than I would have probably liked. But Keith Lee did get the win in the end with the Spirit Bomb. So Keith Lee advanced to that main event triple threat match. The next of those 3 matches was going to be Randy Orton versus Keith Lee. And we had seen backstage that Randy Orton was somehow in cahoots with Aleister Black. He was coming out of Aleister Black's room, you know, this room that Aleister Black just waits in, waiting for fights. But we did see Charlie Caruso trying to get a word with Aleister Black, but instead Randy Orton came out from that room. And then Randy Orton was in the ring, waiting for Kevin Owens, and as Kevin Owens approached the ring for his match, Aleister Black attacked. So Randy Orton had clearly got in his ear, clearly fired up Aleister Black, got him onside, and attacked Kevin Owens before the match began. After a black mass, Aleister Black rolled Kevin Owens into the ring, and Kevin Owens tried to fight on. The referee didn't want the match to go on, but Kevin Owens said, look, I'm gonna fight. Tried to get some strikes in. He got one nasty chop in on Randy Orton, and Randy Orton just said, that's it, RKO, 1, 2, 3, it was done in like under 2 minutes. Randy Orton pinned him, and Randy Orton advanced to the triple threat match for the #1 contendership. Last but not least, in these series of matches, we were supposed to get Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins. However, Rey Mysterio apparently obtained an injury from the match at Payback, so Dominic Mysterio stood in his place and took on Seth Rollins. Before the match started, Seth Rollins cut a nasty promo on Murphy, telling him that you cost us the match last night, you're disgraceful, where do you want to be, you know, are you going to be on the right side of the greater good? Told him to get out his ring, get out of his face, slapped him on the back of his head on his way out. So Murphy probably has a lot to think about. Is he going to remain on side of Seth Rollins going forward? But yeah, Seth Rollins definitely treated him like he was just a little piece of crap on the bottom of his shoe. Wasn't nice at all. Dominic Mysterio and Seth Rollins got into their match, and again another superb showing by Dominic Mysterio. And to be honest, this was the best of the bunch for me because this was just a singles match. There was no tag match, there was no gimmicks, there was no street fight. This was just 2 men wrestling in the ring, and Dominic Mysterio was super impressive. However, unfortunately, after hitting Seth Rollins with a 619 and then missing with the frog splash, Seth Rollins got up, gave him a curb stomp, and then got the pin 1, 2, 3, and Dominic Mysterio was just an afterthought. Seth Rollins advanced to the triple threat match, but not without giving him another curb stomp after the bell, after the match had finished. So Seth Rollins getting a bit of revenge on the Mysterio family. So we now knew who our triple threat match was going to be made up of: Keith Lee, Randy Orton, and Seth Rollins. On paper, looked to be a really interesting match, and all men really delivered in the ring. I would definitely say go and watch it if you haven't seen that match. But for the finish of the match, we got Keith Lee hit Seth Rollins with the Spirit Bomb. Just as Keith Lee was getting up from that move and going to pin Seth Rollins, you saw Randy Orton slither into the ring, give Keith Lee an RKO, jump over Keith Lee and go and pin Seth Rollins. He got the 1, 2, 3, and Randy Orton will be advancing to Clash of Champions to take on Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. a kind of roundabout way to do this. I guess Randy Orton was the last official #1 contender anyway. Yes, he did lose, so maybe they had to create opportunities for others. I do get that. But yeah, we're still going to get Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. And this has got to be a Randy Orton win now, to be honest. Like, he can't face Drew twice and not win. Do you see what I mean? Like, I do think with 3 to 4 weeks before the Clash of Champions pay-per-view, they're almost going to have to really ramp up what they did in the build for SummerSlam, which was really good, Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. Now they're going to have to top it, sort of thing. And like I say, I am kind of expecting Randy Orton to pick it up here, because if he doesn't, where does he go from here? He'll always be okay because he's Randy Orton. He will never be in danger of like being buried or anything like that, no chance. But I would expect just natural story for Randy Orton to pick it up on this occasion. The other semi-big story coming out of Raw this week was that the Riot Squad were taking on the Iconics, and the winners get a shot at the Women's Tag Team Championships at Clash of Champions, and the losers have to disband as a tag team. Now, going into this match, obviously in the last couple of weeks we've read loads of reports that Vince McMahon is extremely high on Peyton Royce. He really fancies Peyton Royce as a single star, and when I saw this stipulation I thought, no, God, no, they're gonna separate the Iconics. There is no way they should do this. It is way too early. If they do it and try to push Peyton, you know, she may get lost in the shuffle. Billie Kay will definitely get lost in the shuffle. They are just better together. Do not do this so soon, not yet. And just before the match kicked off, they showed a promo and a video package of everything the Iconics have been through throughout their life since they met each other in high school. And I thought, no, they can't. They're not going to do this. No chance they're going to break them up. And then as the match itself went on, I did think the Riot Squad were looking good. The Iconics were still looking good, but there became a prolonged period towards what I assumed to be the end of the match, where it was just Billie Kay in the ring. And I thought, yeah, that is it. They are going to get Billie Kay pinned here, and Peyton Royce is going to be the one that's going to leave looking stronger, I guess. But yeah, they're going to split, and that is exactly what happened. Ruby Riott got the pin over Billie Kay. They came in, and in Iconics fashion, they were really comedic with, you know, how it all ended, crying in the ring, begging the referee that no, this isn't how it's supposed to end, and couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it at all. Holding themselves, hugging, crying. It was the Iconics at their best. But yeah, I really don't think separating these two is a good idea. I hope Peyton Royce, if they're gonna really push Peyton Royce like they say they are, you know, give her a singles run, I hope it works out best for her. I hope Billie Kay doesn't get lost, but I just can't trust that to happen. And I do think it's too early for an eventual split. They haven't really achieved much together. They've won one women's tag team championship, but I feel they had a lot more to do as a tag team. But I guess we will see how this goes. So before I get on to the rest of the results from tonight's Monday Night Raw, guys, if you're enjoying the review, please make sure you hit the thumbs up button, give us a like. It does a lot for this channel and I thoroughly appreciate it. So knowing everyone is going to have to defend their title at Clash of Champions, Asuka came out and Asuka was wondering who her next challenger was going to be. Mickie James then came to the ring and seemed to be laying out the gauntlet, saying that she wants a women's match, but knowing that she may have to jump through some hoops to get there. Lana and Natalya came down to the ring, ran their mouth for a bit at Mickie James' expense, and then Lana got in the ring and Lana was going to have a match with Mickie James. This was a bit of a nothing match. It was really slow. In the end, Mickie James got the win with the Mick kick. I don't think they announced that Mickie James was going to be the person to take on Asuka, but I guess they're probably building up to that, so we'll see. We had the Hurt Business taking on Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander. This was a decent match. Obviously, this started last week on Raw Underground. These guys all getting in a tangle with each other, so they got in the ring this week on Raw. Cedric Alexander got the win with like a roll-up on MVP. After the match, Hurt Business wanted to put a beating on Cedric Alexander. MVP stopped it and was like congratulating Alexander for pinning him. He seemed quite okay with it. Everyone got out the ring. Viking Raiders and Cedric Alexander were left celebrating in the ring, only for a backstage segment to follow where Hurt Business were then beating up Cedric Alexander. Didn't really get that. I was still waiting for maybe some extra story to be told in terms of why they had left Cedric Alexander, but I guess they only just left him for later. We got a tornado tag team match between Street Profits and Andrade and Angel Garza. I did think that Andrade and Angel Garza would be done after SummerSlam as like a pair, but here we are again. So it was a really good match, but we didn't get a finish because Retribution got involved. As Retribution stormed the ring, Angel Garza ran with Demi. She was at ringside, so he took her and they ran off, which left to Street Profits and Andrade in the ring and Zelina outside the ring. And to be fair, all of these guys just went for it. They just went to fight Retribution. Obviously didn't get too far before getting outnumbered and overwhelmed. Would have been interesting to get a finish for that match and then seeing where we would have went with that, but I think they're probably going more with the story of Garza running away and leaving Andrade and Zelina alone. We did get another segment backstage with Retribution, and it is becoming more clear that at least one person, Dijakovic, is part of Retribution. I do think who we're seeing on TV now of Retribution is going to be the actual Retribution once they are unveiled. I'm not sure how much people care about Retribution anymore because it has become a bit boring. They're just beating up people without any purpose. What's their manifesto? What are they here for? What is the message they're trying to convey? Nobody knows. I don't think anybody cares anymore at this point, so it's best that they just kind of reveal themselves, in my opinion. But I'm sure Dijakovic is probably the leading member of Retribution. And to end with, we got some action from Raw Underground. Titus O'Neil had a bit of a streak. He wanted to show a different side of himself. He was doing pretty well until he came across Riddick Moss, who put him away. We had Jessamine Duke make her debut and she was pretty impressive, as well as Marina Shafir got in the ring to have a fight, and I'm sure she was wearing a skirt and put some woman away, so that was pretty impressive. The Iconics were ringside and debating should they get involved in Raw Underground. Peyton Royce kind of rolled Billie Kay into the ring and she got a kick from Jessamine Duke and was out. And then we had the one promoted match which they said we were going to get, Shelton Benjamin versus Apollo Crews, which didn't really end with a winner from either one of those two, and ended with Hurt Business kind of beating up Apollo Crews, Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. So Hurt Business standing tall in Raw Underground again. I've lost interest in Raw Underground a bit. It hasn't really got a main direction. I don't know what the purpose of these little 30-second scraps are all about. There is no belt, there is no prize money, there doesn't seem to be any rankings. It's just like people want to just come and fight for whatever reason. It's just a bit weird, and I don't like the fact now that they're doing like main roster or show feuds on Raw Underground, like Shelton Benjamin and Apollo Crews. That should remain in the ring because that's where it started. I don't think they should be bringing that into Raw Underground and crossing the lines. So yeah guys, that was my Raw review. I hope you enjoyed it. I think the main things was that we now know what the WWE Championship match at Clash of Champions is going to be, so we can work towards that, and we have found out a couple other matches that will probably be on that card. If you enjoyed the review, please make sure you leave us a thumbs up, hit the like button, and if you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time I drop a new video. WrestleManiac UK signing out, and I'll see you